Okay, it's by the Swan Silvertones. It's a VJ LP. Some of the first music I really got with was gospel music. And as a matter of fact, the first record I ever made was with a gospel group in Charleston, West Virginia. It's a super bad record, man. Not to play with it.
Our first record.
Yeah. Oh, he knows all about our first record.
Yeah, I knew about some of the first records. I was trying to get clearance on playing some of the early stuff on the air, but we'll get around to that some other night because you'll be up here. I know the immediate reaction of most groups, you say, look, man, I'd like to play your early stuff. Don't do that. It's
some
just
of it's interesting.
Yeah, some of it's interesting because you can see the differences. I was talking about writing album liner notes last night, and I said that I finally figured out the way to do it was to sign a different name to them all, so that years later, man, my name wouldn't be on it because I know how ridiculous it's going to look that much further on. I noticed you didn't have any liner notes on your album.
No, it's because none of us can read very well.
None of us can write either.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, what would you want to say in liner notes?
Well, the only person who could have conceivably written our liner notes would have been Kesey. And by the time that the album came out, it just didn't seem right.
Yeah.
Even to approach him about it.
Yeah.
So we decided not to do it.
After all, it is a record. It's not a magazine.
That's right, it's not a magazine.
Right. However, though, if anybody wants to peel back the label, there's hieroglyphics engraved in the wax.
Beautiful. Then you may be tearing LPs apart all over the city. Have you had any talk about bookings in, let's say, faraway places as a result of the LP?
Yeah, we're going to New York. We're going to New York.
We are?
Yeah.
We're going to New York?
We're going to New York the 1st of June.
The 1st of June?
Like it, yeah.
Where are you going to work there?
I'm not sure. I think the Cafe A Go-Go.
Yeah. I've heard that, I'll tell you, I like the sound system there to the extent that I dig some of the things that have been recorded there. Because they recorded things live and they seem to work pretty well.
Yeah, they recorded like the Blues Project, but they have a lot quieter of a scene going than we do. I don't know. I hope to go there and just turn up real loud and play real loud and just you know.
Okay.
Lethal doses.
All right,
You heard about the sound gun?
No, tell me about. Oh yeah, sound guns that they're doing things with. There's a whole article.
7 cycles a second.
There's an article in Playboy magazine.
This is a different. That's
Destruction by
ultrasonics,
sound,
high frequencies.
Right.
This is
low frequency, subharmonic.
They use a police whistle 18 feet across.
Right, and a common air compressor
engine.
or whatever the heck it is,
And
it puts out this 7 cycle per second thing, which starts your whole
Vibrates your
insides
organs.
vibrating, and you eventually die.
Kill a man 5 miles away with the sound.
Imagine it.
Well, how about if you only had it on you for a little while, man? Would that make it any better?
Make you sick. In fact, when they were testing it out, when they were trying whatever they were doing with it to see what would happen, everybody got sick for miles around. They all got sick. They had headaches, you know. And everybody was very unhappy with the whole thing. Of course, nobody's as unhappy as us musicians.
Okay, let's get back to your top 40 then.
Okay.
Here's number 2. This is another gospel thing, which is a little more crazy than the first one. Less disciplined, you might say. It's by Charlie Mingus. And
it's called?
Oh, that's right.
Wednesday
Wednesday night prayer meeting.
That's it.
That's Charlie Mingus in Wednesday night prayer meeting. This is Tom Donahue at KMPX 107 on your FM dial. We're playing records until midnight. Our guests tonight are Jerry Garcia and Phil Lesh of the Grateful Dead, who have the #1 bestseller in San Francisco with their current Warner Brothers LP. They're shaking hands, but they don't have the money yet. You know, it's that kind of thing, right? And the album's done unbelievably well outside of town. I haven't checked your list completely, man. Are you going to play anything from it?
No,
we don't get a chance to tear it apart or anything like that and say, man,
we can talk about it.
Sure.
Why did you blow that note there? How do you feel about the album yourselves, personally?
I feel like it's a turd.
Yeah, not where you wanted to be.
Well, no, it was where we were at the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's something we did. It's all over with, and it's...
So the next one certainly won't be anything like that one.
No.
Yeah.
That one.
Anyway.
Yeah.
The way we sort of... It's like that one is sort of an attempt to try and sound like the way the stuff that we do live with the same instrumentation and everything. There's not really anything unconventional for us in there.
But that's impossible to do in a recording studio.
Right. So we're not going to try and bother. We're not going to bother doing that anymore. We're just going to, like, from now on when we go and record, since the first album is doing so nicely, we hope to let us have a lot of time in the studio, and next time we'll do a lot more studio stuff and try and get into that, which is a whole other thing.
Because it's the whole problem of trying to take what live sounds like and put it on some kind of tape or disc or something.
Yeah, you can't do it in the studio. You might be able to do it if you could record a rock and roll band live, you know, at the volumes that we play at live, like at the Fillmore or something like that. And maybe after about 2 or 3 months of every night at the Fillmore, we'd start to get, you know, good cuts, good enough for an album. I mean, in terms of how clean they were and how much we liked the performance on them, and then we'd have something, but it'd be such an expensive undertaking and long and everything and the studio facilities are so incredible that we should do something with them. So we're going to go in there, you know, and try, you know, something different. Approaching
it from a different angle altogether. Right.
Well, there are people who practice the art of recording. The Beatles, Phil Spector, practice the art of recording. Yeah.
That's right.
And when we went in to do the album, we didn't know anything about the art of recording. We knew a little bit about music.
Well, I think there is a potential of this, though, and that is the art of interpretation.
Interpretation of what? The recording?
Of which nobody has pinned down. No, the art of interpretation of the sound of a group. I think in time it's conceivable that engineers will come along who actually hear what groups are doing and know how to transplant that sound.
Wouldn't it be more likely to assume that the groups would be able to take over the function of the engineer?
Oh, yeah, that's very possible.
But I think would hate it. That's what we're hoping.
Right. I think that's what every group hopes to do, to get to that point where they can do it.
Right.
Because, you know, it remains another brain between you and what you want to do. And so it's a jump that you have to make into his head and then out onto whatever's recorded. And I don't think it's ever been done successfully, really.
I'd say the
except
Beatles
with the creative. Yeah, well, but once again, it's the Beatles doing their thing, though. They're not doing it through through a producer's head or an engineer. Yeah, well, the engineer obviously has been turned on to what they want.
Right. Yeah.
But who knows, man? After the Beatles walk out of a studio, they may be saying to themselves, "Didn't get it again, man."
Right. Yeah.
Because you don't know what they want, right?
Right. Who knows? Sounds mighty good to us, of course.
How about Blind Willie Johnson?
Blind Willie Johnson. Yeah, this is Blind Willie Johnson and his wife Angelina, and Blind Willie Johnson is a particularly interesting slide-style guitarist. He played nothing but sacred music during, I guess, the 20s and 30s and so forth like that, you know, in the streets and all. And his records are valued by old-time record collectors. And this particular song, the Blues Project, also does. Anybody who's heard the Blues Project record that has "Lord, I Just Can't Keep From Crying" sometime on it, it's the same song. And this is, I guess, where they got it. Blind Willie Johnson.
Lord, I just can't keep from crying sometimes. And my heart full of sorrow, and my heart filled with tears. I keep from crying sometimes. My mother often told me, ain't you born this to laugh away. She said I wouldn't accomplish, but trust in God and pray. I'm on the King's highway, I'm trusting Him every day, but I just can't keep from crying sometimes. Well, I just can't keep from crying sometimes. When my heart full of sorrow and my heart filled with tears, Lord, I just can't keep from crying. I'm mother, she said in glory. Thank God I'm on my way. Father is gone too, and so the shit could not stay. I'm trusting him every day. Hey, Alabama, put him away. But I just can't keep from crying sometimes. Well, I just can't keep from crying sometimes. When my heart full of sorrow and my heart filled with tears, I keep from crying sometimes. I thought when she first left me, I'd grieve a little while. Soon it all would be over. I'd turn down over the smile. But the thoughts as I get older, I think of what I told her, and I just can't keep from crying sometimes. Well, I just can't keep from crying sometimes. When my heart's full of sorrow and my heart filled with tears, Lord, I just can't keep from crying sometimes. Wow.
Okay, that's by Blind Willie Johnson. Lord, I just can't keep from crying. Our guests tonight are Jerry Garcia and Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead. Ray Charles is next on your schedule. Is this early or late?
Late. Very recent. It's his last single.
Last single.
Yeah, or the latest.
Do you think the stuff he's cut with ABC has been as good as some of the things he cut with Atco? He was in a much heavier blues bag, I think, earlier.
Yeah, I always liked the 7-piece stuff, and with the Raylettes and all like that. It was real nice sound.
But his big band is one of the tightest going.
Yeah, there's some good big bands. I like the sound that the Bobby Bland group gets, too.
Yeah. Theirs is a lot more funky, I think, than Ray Charles.
Yeah.
James Brown, I think, actually has the best big band. The tightest.
They're real snappy.
Super disciplined.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
He uses 2 drummers, too.
Smoke on stage during rehearsal, $10. Late for rehearsal, $25. James keeps them in mind.
I bet he does.
Have you thought about that, Jerry?
Keeping the boys in line.
Let's try Ray Charles. I don't need no doctor.
I don't need no doctor, 'cause I know what's ailing me. I don't need no doctor, no, 'cause I know what's ailing me. I've been too long away from a baby. I'm coming down with a misery. I don't need no doctor for my prescription to be filled. I don't need no doctor, I tell you now, for my prescription to be filled. Only my baby's arms could ever take away this chill. Now the doctor said I need rest, but all I need is her tenderness. He put me on a critical list, when all I need is a husky kiss. He gave me a medicated lotion, but it didn't soothe my emotion. I don't need no doctor, all my hope to live is gone. I don't need no doctor, no. Why my hope to live is gone.
was I Don't Need Your Doctor. We're going along with selections tonight from Jerry Garcia and Phil Lesh of the Grateful Dead, and James Brown, whom we were talking about a moment ago, is on the list at the moment. You're picking some fairly recent stuff of James's, too.
Yeah, the Man's World is the one that seemed to me to use the strings first in the new way.
Yeah.
Like, lots of people did records with strings, even jazz musicians, Charlie Parker, Clifford Brown. And it was all mostly like little melodies and little chords in the background. But James Brown on this
body stuff.
in this recording uses the strings in a kind of percussive way.
Yeah, very groovy.
It sort of seems to me that after that, then the Beatles came out and started using that stuff too. Only it wasn't with the instruments playing it. It was with manipulation of the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Like on Tomorrow Never Knows, there's violins, and it's tape manipulation, loops, spiral sort of thing.
Okay, let's do It's a Man's World.
Without a woman or a girl. You see, man made the cars to take us over the road. Man made the train to carry the heavy load. To take us out of the dark. Man made the boat for the water, like Noah made the ark. This is a man's world. But it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. And a baby boys. Man make them happy, 'cause man make them toys. And after man make everything he can, you know that man makes money to buy from other men. This is a man's world. But it would be nothing, not one little thing without a woman or a girl. He's lost in the wilderness. He's lost in bitterness.
That's James Brown. It's a man's world. Let's skip right to the next one, okay? James and Ain't That a Groove?
This one speaks for itself.
It's a groove.
All the way. This is Tom Donahue. We're KMPX. It's 107 on your FM dial in San Francisco. Playing records 8 until midnight. Our guest tonight, Phil Lesh and Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. And here's James Brown.
When you're baby and you are tight, and everything you say or do is mellow, she keeps everything all right, and you know that you're the only fellow. Ain't that a groove? Ain't that a groove? Ain't that a groove? Ain't that a groove? Now look at your fellows. Girls like to be in the mood when Whenever they think their man is yellow, hit me, man. You fight real hard to make things right, 'cause he's the only fella. Now, ain't that a groove? Ain't that a groove? Do you hear me, people? Ain't that a groove? Ow! Ain't that a groove? Look at here. I want to know, do you love me? Yes, I love you. One more time, do you love me? Yes, I really, really do. Do you love me, baby? Yes, I love you. I just gotta know. Ow! Hit me, man. One more time. Look at here. I gotta tell you. Dig this. This will kill you. A little piece of money and plenty of love will keep everything together. Come on, man. Well, forget about the money, plenty of love, and ain't that mellow? Now ain't that a groove? It's so groovy. Ain't that a groove? It's so groovy. Ain't that a groove? It's so groovy. Hey! Ow! Ain't that a groove? Look at him. I'm not gonna talk all day, but I want you to get the feel. One more time. Give me band. Look at that band. Uh-huh. I want to ask you, do you love me? Yes, I love you. Do you love me, baby? I love you. Do you love me? Yes, do you? I just gotta know. Hey! Ain't that a groove? One for the money, two for the show. Ain't that a groove? Now here we go. Going out. And one more thing I want to say. This is better than Christmas. Christmas only comes once a year. This is all year round. Pittsburgh King. I'm living. Let me out. I'm gone. Yeah, I know.
Ain't That a Groove? That's James Brown, and that's from a very recent LP of his. Let's see if we can give you the exact title. It's just, It's a Man's World. Amazing, sensational, thrilling Soul Brother #1. Doesn't really have a title, just James Brown. Working out on stage, doing his entire thing. Yeah.
Relatives.
He's a fantastic showman, to lay another one on you. The act hasn't changed much.
Everybody has the same act in that business.
Right. I saw the basic act maybe 56 at the Apollo, you know.
It's been that way for 20
right
years.
but I think that's one of the things people dig about him, because they know they're going to get that, and that's what they want to see. And he's had a lot of imagination, because in his particular area of R&B singing, there are very few who would depart to sing the kind of songs he has on occasion. He's picked up some strange ballads and done them, and, you know.
Well, it's a man's world.
Yeah, it's a man's world. Is
far-out thing.
Yeah. Well, James is thinking in his own area.
But is he really happy?
Is he really happy? Smiles a lot, man, if that is anything to do with it.
Seems happy.
You ever do any Dylan tunes?
Yeah, we
Baby
do.
Blue.
Baby Blue.
Yeah.
It's all over now, Baby Blue. We also used to do She Belongs to Me, too.
Mm-hmm.
Bob used to croon it. Yeah.
This one was...
Oh, this is Bob's request, incidentally, too. He said we should play it.
Yeah, the particular record had an R&B recording, as a matter of fact. Maggie's Farm.
I heard,
yeah, Solomon Burke, that's right.
Far out. I heard, let's see, James Cotton's blues band do it. Sam Lay sang it, the drummer sang it. It was very interesting.
Okay, let's get with Maggie's Blues, as recorded by Bob Dylan.
I got a head full of ideas that are driving me insane. It's a shame the way she makes me scrub the floor. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. cigar out in your face just for kicks. His bedroom window, it is made out of bricks. The National Guard stands around his door. I ain't gonna work for Maggie Farr no more. I ain't gonna work for Maggie Farr no more. No, I ain't gonna work for Maggie Farr no more. Well, she talks to all the servants about man and God and law. Everybody says she's the brains behind paw. She's 68, but she says she's 54. I ain't gonna work for Maggie's Ma no more. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. Well, I try my best to be just like I am, but everybody wants you to be just like them. They say sing while you slave, and I just get bored. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more.
That's Bob Dylan and Maggie's Farm on KMPX. This is Tom Donahue with you until 12 midnight. KMPX is at 107 on the FM dial. We play records 8 until 12. And if you have an opportunity to listen to the station in stereo here in San Francisco, it's a good way to hear it. Stereo is not necessarily a faithful reproduction, but it's a small thing of its own.
Right. It's a whole thing of its own, yes, indeed.
Do you, have you listened to your, I guess you've listened to your LP in both monaural and stereo, and probably heard it a lot of times.
Right. Well, we were the ones that mixed it. The mono mix and the stereo mix.
Yeah, but we had a writer on it.
It was cut where? Western, and with the exception of
no, RCA.
RCA, rather.
RCA, with the exception of the single, which was cut at Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the single, I think, sounds more like us than the album does, because it sounds dirtier
and fuller,
and more stuff going on.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because you were cutting in San Francisco. Maybe it did something to your mind.
I don't know. LA did something.
Well, we did a lot more stuff on the single too. Like we put a lot more. You know, we overlaid a lot of stuff.
It's a recording rather than a transcription.
Right, and somehow it comes out sounding more like the way we sound live, just because of the enormous amount of confusion involved. And maybe, you know, it's like we're used to playing in a big place.
And there were more people jammed in the studio at Coast that night.
Oh, that's true.
Because I came in and there were a lot of people.
Right, a lot of people.
Because there's only two ways you can record. One is no people, or the other one is everybody. There's no in-between. It just doesn't work.
It's true. It doesn't work.
And I guess you would rather have a lot, wouldn't you?
Well,
yes.
When we were in L.A., we tried to show, we were going to have a big closed session, absolutely no admittance and so forth, and a big sign and everything, but,
everybody showed up anyway.
Yeah, everybody came, so it was okay.
There, old lady, and she's getting in and I'm getting in, and before you know it, man, they got a studio full of people.
It's okay. It turns out it doesn't really seem to make too much difference, The difference that it seems to make is that, like, the better you feel, the better you do.
Yeah.
And if there's a lot of people around, and it's kind of a nice, if everybody's kind of in a good thing, it comes out a little better, or at least moves a little faster.
This was recorded in
It was recorded
Paris,
in France,
yeah,
as a matter
right.
of fact, yeah. And it's the Bulgarian folklore scene, it's something like, the Folklorico de Mexico thing.
Yeah.
Only Bulgarian. And it's all these people who are just like people of Bulgaria, farmers and what have you, workers and so forth, who also are into music, just like I guess everybody is in some way or another. This is the music of their own country. Like
the women who sing on this, some of them are quite old,
60s
and 70s, have been singing this stuff for years.
Right, it sounds like it.
Yeah. There's a weird thing that happens to me when I listen to this album. There was a group around many years ago called the Divorce Sisters. I don't know if you remember. They had a record called Teach Me Tonight once. It was a successful 45. And their voice quality is such that they sound very much like a lot of the women on this record.
Real thick, strange vibrato. And
yeah, right.
Like that, yeah.
Albert Grossman picked this album up originally.
Well, the thing that I like about this particular cut is the singing is unaccompanied two-part singing, and it's like semitones and microtones. Just the strange, weirdest intervals that you ever heard.
This is from an RCA Victor album that I don't think is available anymore. The album is entitled Music of Bulgaria, and the cut is The Moon Shines. And that particular cut is entitled The Moon Shines. We played some of this on the air here because a lot of people reacted very favorably to it. It's a great sound to listen to. We'll get some other cuts on eventually. You work with Charles Lloyd at any of the gigs you've done?
Oh, yeah, Rock Hard. We worked a week with him. We really had a good time with him, too. In fact, there's been a little bit of, there's been some communication between us and Charles Lloyd just recently. He's been talking to our managers, and we're going to maybe work something out where we're working together in some other situations, because we have a good time together.
Yeah. He's great to listen to, and he's building a tremendous audience among a group of people he might never have reached if he hadn't played those dances.
Right.
Because that is exposed to people who ordinarily would never have come across Charles Lloyd in their experience.
Right.
And they listen to what he's doing.
They dance to it, too.
Yeah, and they dance to it, yeah, and they like it. Okay, this is Charles Lloyd and Dreamweaver.
Okay, we're listening to Charles Lloyd and Dreamweaver, Tom Donahue at KMPX in San Francisco.
Keep the faith, baby.
Woke up, fell out of bed. This weekend at the Avalon Ballroom, Sutter and Van Ness in San Francisco, the Family Dog presents the Chambers Brothers. Also at the Avalon this weekend, the Iron Butterfly.
Keep the faith, baby.
That's a thing for the Avalon that Bob McClay produced. Our guests tonight are Jerry Garcia and Phil Lesh of the Grateful Dead, and Charles Lloyd, somebody they work with. They've also worked with Junior Wells. What was that?
We worked with Junior Wells
Fillmore.
at the Fillmore Auditorium,
right.
yeah.
When he was there, though, he wouldn't do his blues stuff at the Fillmore.
Right, and the band wasn't, the band that he uses with Buddy Guy, he's just, like on this particular record, he's just got a little three-piece band backing him up. And it's just so tasty. This particular cut is, well, I think it's one of the finest single blues band recordings, you know. I mean, just the, musically, the way the stuff happens is so nice.
Okay, this Junior Wells, Ships on the Ocean.
Pick up this the blues, you hear? You take me home this morning and make my long hair stand up on my head.